Cinderella 2 is very much the fluff between Cinderella 1 and Cinderella 3. I recently discussed Cinderella 3 and I said how much I really loved it and was really pleasantly surprised by it. Obviously, Disney's first Cinderella film is an absolute classic. The second film is not great, and I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're a young child obsessed with Cinderella, or I guess a fully grown adult obsessed with Cinderella. But just as a general casual Disney viewing, it's not that good. This was released in 2001, it's directed by John Kafka, and we have Jennifer Hale as the voice of Cinderella, Rob Paulsen as the voice of many, including Jacques, Corey Burton as Gus, and Holland Taylor as Prudence. I love Holland Taylor. And I will say, voice casting, voice acting, absolutely no problems whatsoever. Of course not, it's all fine. The problem is the narrative and the way it's presented, because it's kind of an anthology. We have 3 separate stories that are being told, and it's all about Cinderella's life. Kind of immediately after the end of the first film. I'll read the description from IMDb, and this says, Jack and Gus create a storybook based on 3 events that happened after the first film. The stories include Cinderella's opposition to the court's strict etiquette, Jack's becoming human for a day, and Anastasia's redemption through love. So I do like the fact that we have the characters that we know and love in this. We have, the fairy godmother, of course, and Anastasia and Drizella, and the stepmother, and Lucifer, and of course Jack and Gus. So in terms of being recognisable as a Cinderella sequel, absolutely yes. It ticks all the right boxes in terms of animation style, colour schemes, themes, characters, and as a sequel, it works. But it's just not very interesting, and nothing particularly fascinating happens. Now, one may argue that this is a children's film, so it's not going to be that intense or that busy. But when you look at the first film, which is a beautiful, magical film, I'm fed up of it, to be honest, because it's been overdone. I've seen so many Cinderella adaptations that the story kind of bores me now. But the first film is a beautiful film. It's very well done, with a gorgeous soundtrack and characters, and it really does come to life. And the third film is really great. And maybe that's because the third film very much relies on the first film. This one, not so much. In terms of continuity, yes. In terms of quality, not at all. So I think if it's, if you're a young child, which I'm assuming you're not, but if you have a young child, or, put this on for a child who loves Cinderella and loves the first Cinderella film, then you could maybe give yourself a break from having it on repeat in the house by putting on the second film, because it'll give them a way to still love Cinderella, and you won't have to listen to the same film for the 7 millionth time. As an adult, I never got that kind of nostalgic feel I had with watching the third one. I never felt like I was enjoying the characters that I grew up with in a new way. It was just dull. So for me, I wouldn't recommend it to somebody looking for that nostalgic trip, unless you've already seen the film as a child and loved it. But if you loved Cinderella, don't expect the same magic from this one as the first film. By all means, it's not the worst film in the world. It's not like the narrative's all over the place, or the dialogue's rubbish, or the acting's bad. Nothing at all like that. It's just, for a Disney film, it's very weak. And it feels like it was made on a shoestring, like they rushed it out. Certainly they haven't rushed it out, given the gap between the two of them. Cinderella 3 was actually out in 2007, which is a pretty decent amount of time afterwards, I think. If you're a diehard Disney fan like me, and it's your mission in life to watch everything Disney has done, yeah, definitely give it a go. It's not, it's not the worst thing. You won't cry your way through it. But if you're just a casual Disney viewer, or you just like animations, I'd say definitely don't put this to your top of your watch list, because it's not that good.